It was very helpful for me to get involved in some sort of way because it felt like I was able to use really awful experiences that I'd had and try to make them into something that could improve things for young people in the future. And I think that alone can be quite helpful because it's very powerful for people to have that sort of impact. It means that there's an element of lived experience running through it that influences how it's run and makes it so that it works for children and young people in the future. Probably just the most important thing would be for it to be flexible and able to adapt to individuals and their families' needs.
Projects of this kind where the standards are really co-produced with young people and then young people can also respond to a public consultation. I think it's a really good opportunity for young people to actually have that influence on policies that affect them, and especially for people who have been affected by issues that are covered by Bairns Hoose. It's people who are quite often marginalised and are really not listened to, even more than your average child. So it's a really good opportunity for people to invite young people to be listened to. This is a very unique thing to be part of. It's something that hasn't been done before in Scotland, and you know, we're world leading in a lot of issues and a lot of policies, and to have the opportunity to really be involved in shaping how something like the Bairns House is going to operate is a really great opportunity.
When we were having the discussion, I did come up with ideas about having people with lived experience involved in the actual running of the system. I think it's important for lived experience to not just be tokenistic, but for there to be regular reviews with people who have come through this system and other systems in the past, to regularly have input in it rather than just designing it. And I think people with lived experience should be involved in all levels, and not just the creation, but in the ongoing practice and at management and higher up roles as well. There will be issues that come up with implementation and through practice that people who have been through this Bairns House themselves will be able to address. It's important because young people who are coming into this system and their families have already likely experienced something very traumatic. By taking power away and by taking people's voices away, you add to that trauma, and that's really not what we should be doing when we're trying to help people who have experienced trauma. We shouldn't be taking their agency and their autonomy and their voices away.
People have been through really, really difficult things, but they are in some level of recovery from it, and it doesn't matter, you know, where they are, what stage of recovery they're at, or how they're feeling that day. They know that people do actually care about what they've been through, and people want to make the future better for people who are in the same situation that they are. A couple of things came out really sort of stood out, and I think the main thing was choice. Young people really want to be able to choose the kind of care that they receive. I think that's why it's so important that we do listen to what people are saying, because we can't just take this small group of voices and build the entire service around that. We really need to kind of find out all the different things that work for people. All of the participation workers on this project from different organisations have had opportunities to influence the standards, and I think that has been really positive because that isn't always possible. My hope would be that we can kind of work towards setting a standard that children are listened to and influence policies in their development from the beginning. So that would mean, for example, sitting down, writing the standards with children and young people, and you know, that's tricky and time intensive and labour intensive, but I feel like if you're wanting to do things in a way that is rights respecting and trauma informed, you're going to have to accept that it will take time.
My hopes for the standards would be they are representative of a wide range of experience, a wide range of people from all backgrounds, social, economic, geography. I mean, I think my hope for the model would first and foremost be that we don't inflict more trauma on people who have already experienced something traumatic, and that people don't feel like their experiences of getting care or support or justice for what happened to them actually contributed to the trauma they experienced, that it was an experience for them that was helpful and healing, and that they felt empowered. Quite often, if you've been disempowered or have been in systems where you've had your voice taken away from you or used against you, it can be really powerful to reclaim that. And that's talking only from like an individual benefit to that young person. There's so much more that I could talk about from, you know, the perspective of creating a hopefully trauma-informed system that will improve things in the future for young people and families. Peer support as well, and when we were talking, and I think stuff like that would be really helpful. People who had experienced this system, just being able to talk to other people who were going through it. I think ideally I would just like this really lived experience led idea